I've been watching Facebook a lot over the last, I suppose the last 2 or 3 days. Sorry, I've got a really squeaky chair. And I find it astonishing that there's this constant talk about unity. Now, for me, maybe I'm the oddball here. Maybe I'm a bit weird. I've always been known for being a little odd. For me, the best way for unity to exist is for every single person to be an independent individual person. That to me makes perfect sense. That way you don't have to take up sides and one side doesn't have to tackle another side and it isn't one team pitted against another team. It's just one person stood near another person standing for the same thing. That to me makes so much sense. But maybe I am old-fashioned and maybe I'm odd of heart. I'm sitting here and I keep getting a twinkling and I can realise it's my Christmas tree in the background, twinkling away, which is something that I've seen this week. A guy was on his stall, I think it was a market stall, and was told to stop playing Christmas tunes. Come on now, really? See, now, the thing is, whether people like this or not, the first thing that people do is, Muslims. No. This ain't the Muslims complaining about this. This is your political correctness that are telling you this. Your liberal left saying to you, oh, it offends people. No, it doesn't. And if it does, quite frankly, I say whack up those Christmas carols, every single person, get your stereos on and turn it up, and let's all simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Why? Because we, the English, are known for celebrating Christmas in our own way. Americans have Thanksgiving and all of the extra bits that go with it. We have Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year. Christmas is not about getting gifts. It's about taking that one day a year where all your family sit down and you laugh and you cry and you give each other something just to say, do you know what? Might have forgotten all through the year. Maybe I couldn't afford much throughout the year, but I've saved up and bought you just a little something to tell you how much I love you. It's not about the price of the present, but the thought that goes behind it. The fairy lights are not all about the fact that people are celebrating the birth of baby Jesus. And some people are out there, and that's exactly what Christmas is for them, celebrating the birth of baby Jesus. And that's fine too. For me, as an atheist, it's not about celebrating the birth of baby Jesus. For me, that's about me putting the Christmas spirit into my home. Now, normally I would have a ceiling so full that you can't see any of the white. Why? Because when children walk in my house, I want them to feel the joy that Christmas gives. And most of that joy doesn't come from the present. Most kids, how many kids do you know open the present up, forget the present, play with the box? Most kids do this. And that got me to thinking that we English are quite diverse in the way we do a lot of things. And I did this once before in a video, and I don't think people really took much notice. So I'm going to do this again. Now, I do not buy the Sun, nor do I read from the Sun. This was something that was delivered to my house free of charge. Something given away by the Sun for nothing. There's a shock. However, I think it's worth taking a few minutes of your time, if that's okay with you, and just giving people a sense of why they should be proud to be English or British, Scottish, Welsh, whatever it is you're proud to be. But the only people that are told they can't be proud are the English. We're continuously dumped down and told we're not allowed. And what I've also noticed is so many people on their statuses, they're against this and they're against this, and that's great. But you know what? For a change, why don't we fill our pages with what we stand for? What do we stand for? Well, in fact, on the bottom of this video, why don't you all write a comment of what you stand for? What is it you stand for? And every person will stand for something different. For me, I stand for one law for all. For me, I stand for equality for all. For me, I stand for no special preferential treatment for any religion above another, and I stand for there should be no faith to supersede the faith of the very country you reside. I am for equal rights for people, but I'm also for embracing the differences between men and women. I'm all for laughter. I'm all for jokes. I'm all for humour. What do you stand for? I stand for right over wrong, not left over right. I don't care if you're left or if you're right. If I'm right and you're right, we're all right, and we'll do all right. So I stand for right over wrong. So when you tell me on the bottom of this, what do you stand for? Don't tell me what you're against. Don't tell me that you're sick of this and you're sick of that. Tell me what you stand for. So I'm going to read something. I'm sorry, I haven't got the glasses on. As you can see, I am really, really tired. It's been a hell of a week this week, and I am really, really tired. So tonight, it's going to be early to bed with a movie. But for now, and I also have something else, a couple of things that are really important to say at the end of this. So please bear with me, because I don't do quick videos. Never have done, never will do. And if people don't like it, well, you can always stop watching. So this was an article in The Sun, and it says, I am proud to be English because this is the most creative corner on the planet. America comes a deserving second, but nowhere in the world comes close to the creative genius of this green, rain-lashed, endlessly brilliant land. Lennon and McCartney, Shakespeare and Dickens, Morecambe and Wise, Wilko Johnson and Rudyard Kipling, Morrissey and Marr, George Orwell and George Michael, Turner and Constable, Joe Strummer and Mick Jones, Byron and Shelley, David Lean and David Bowie, Paul Weller and Pete Townsend, the Stone Roses and the Sex Pistols, Graham Greene and Ray Davies, Amy Winehouse and Agatha Christie, John Cleese, Charlie Chaplin, Benny Hill and the Buzzcocks. The English creative spirit is a bottomless well. For centuries we have entertained, enlightened the rest of the planet with our books, our comedians, our films, our plays, our poetry and our great bands galore. The English have produced writing that has endured for 500 years, music that will last forever, ideas that have entered the consciousness of the entire human race. Where is the home of Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, 1984, and heaven knows I'm miserable now. England, only England. For England is a land fit for artists and heroes, and I am proud we are a land of heroes, a warrior race that has stood up to oppression and tyrants throughout history, often with the help of our neighbours in Scotland, Ireland and Wales. Military heroes fill our English dreams and our history books and every home. The White Cliffs of Dover has often been in the front line of mankind's fight for freedom. William Wilberforce against the obscenity of the slave trade. Churchill against Hitler, Wellington against Napoleon, Drake against the Spanish Armada, and these are just the names in the history books. There's every chance that in your own home there is a father or a grandfather or a brother or indeed a sister who fought in the great wars of the last century or in the conflicts of this century. Perhaps there were many of them. For in every English home there is an unsung hero who fought for freedom. We have stood up to dictators and terrorists throughout our history and always given them a good kicking. Every blitz your resistance toughening, from the Ritz to the Anchor and the Crown, Noel Coward sang of London in World War II. He was singing of England and a fighting spirit that has never been crushed. England is a land where the past never seems far away. Every blitz your resistance toughening. Isn't that the eternal spirit of England in 5 words? Throughout the history we have confronted every murderous thug on the block, and we have never been bullied into submission. That fills me with pride that I will take to my grave. I grew up in a city that was still scarred with the bombs of the Luftwaffe. I was a teenager when the IRA was slaughtering innocent men, women and children and horses on the streets of our capital. And I was in London when Al-Qaeda butchers exploded on trains and a bus on 7/7. They all lost. And I am very proud of the English relationship with sports, which we practically invented. If we sometimes bettered at these sports by others, it's because they never understood what really counts is how you play the game. You will see them playing cricket in the West Indies and Pakistan and India and Australia. You will see them kicking footballs in Brazil and Japan and Ghana. You will see them playing rugby in Argentina, Samoa and New Zealand. The English have invented so many globally popular games on some wet summer afternoon when we were just a little bit bored. And the English weather, oh how we bitch about it. But the truth is we're blessed by the English weather. I have seen earthquakes in Japan, hurricanes in the West Indies, typhoons in the Philippines. I have sweated buckets in a New York summer and frozen my butt off in the Chicago winter. The gentle surprises of the English weather are a relief after you see what weather looks like to the rest of the world. How can I explain England to you? We are a gentle, tolerant, welcoming people, yet ferocious when we are provoked. We love animals and we hate bullies. We love freedom and we hate people who aren't polite. We love our neighbours, but we never remove our fences. And we have two unofficial mottos that sum up our English worldview. One is, never, never shall be slaves. The other is, mustn't grumble. Obviously, the best thing about being English is not being French or Belgian. Can you imagine that, waking every morning to the realisation that you're Belgian? You'd go out of your mind. You'd start self-harming. We're very lucky, really, when you think about it. Hell, a simple quirk of fate, and we could have been born somewhere like Bruges or Liège. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, I jest a bit. Now, I'm not going to go on and read the whole article, but go online and find it, because for me, just that one thing that sums up England so well. And it's true. We English, we have so many things to be proud of. And I will say that actually it was the suffragettes that abolished slavery. So when I get told by people, why are you proud to be white? And yes, I have been asked that. Well, I'll give them one word, the suffragettes. Because what they did was they boycotted sugar. That's what they did. They brought the economy to a standstill just by boycotting sugar in order to abolish slavery. So yes, it took white, Western, working class women to stand up and abolish something that was absolutely abhorrent. So am I proud to be a white woman? Yeah, I am. Just as everybody should be proud to be black, whether they're proud to be Muslim, proud to be Christian, proud to be Jewish. I have a right to be a proud white atheist woman. And that does not make me racist. It doesn't really matter if you say it because the word has been worn out. However, it has saddened me. I sat here last night and up came that link of a man on the tubes who pulled out a knife and was, I believe it was either a knife or a machete, and was slashing at the general public. Now, I was criticised because I turned around and said, I hold David Cameron responsible. Well, I'm sorry. People don't have to agree with my point of view, but I do hold him responsible. Now, I know that ISIS needs to be wiped out. I'm not stupid. But do I think that airstrikes across Syria will solve the problem when you have already let back in countless jihadists? When we have so many homegrown terrorists? No. By bombing Syria, you aggravate the extremist, the radical, and the terrorists in this country already. So unless you're going to shut our borders, take control of the immigration in this country, start making sure that if there is any threat of terrorism, that it is dealt with swiftly. Anybody who has been involved in extremist behaviour, if they are not from this country, ship them out. If they are of this country, bang them up in prison, indefinitely if necessary, if it saves people's lives. And then if you want to go and bomb the Jesus out of ISIS, then fine, do it. But protect this country first and foremost. I know that when Greece crashed, I know that the Greek president or the Greek prime minister turned around and said, Greek jobs for Greek people. Do you know what? Fair play to that man for saying so. He put his people first. Isn't it a shame that you, David Cameron, do not have the ability nor the foresight to put the people of this country first? And that makes no difference of skin colour, race, creed or anything else. You are born in this country, or if you are living in this country and you are prepared to defend and fight for this country, then you are as English, as British as I am. You own a British passport, you are British as far as I'm concerned. But if you are not prepared to defend this country, British passport or no British passport, put them on the plane and, in the words of John Gaunt, Stelios, and ship them out. Now, once you've protected this country, once you have this country in some semblance of order, where people will abide by the laws of this land, one law for all, then and only then do you fly our armed forces out to bomb the shit out of ISIS. Because now what we are going to have, you think that that man on that tube will be the only one? Watch now over the next few weeks, over the next few months, how many single so-called lone wolf terrorist attacks there will be. These are not lone wolf. These orders are sent out from around the world. Hit England, destroy Christmas, do whatever it takes to destroy everything that is great in that country. But in the words of Noel Coward, impossible to do. Impossible. Because we will always have English, British fighting spirit. But if you back us in a corner, we will come out fighting one way or another, whether it be verbally, whether it be physically, we will stand our ground. David Cameron keeps selling the people of this country short, treating us like we're stupid and that we know nothing. Well, we do. Now, moving slightly on, this is another thing. When the tube attack happened, I was sent something that this concerns me. There was two young girls. They'd gone out for a night out. They were in Shoreditch. Now, I do know who the girl is, and I'm not prepared to say who it is. However, this is the message that I was giving. After leaving their friends in a club in Hoxton Square, that's Hoxton Square, the pair of them, there was two of them, made their way towards Shoreditch High Street to get a taxi home. They stopped to help a girl who was alone and being sick. One stayed with the girl while the other went to find a toilet. Whilst walking along Shoreditch High Street, back to Hoxton Square, a group of about 6 Muslim men started calling out to the girl, telling her to fuck off away from them and calling her a kafir or kafir or kafir, however you want to pronounce it. To this she shouted back, and one pulled out a knife and she ran back to her friend. These men chased her back to where her friend was and carried on shouting at her. Two of the gang broke away and tried apologising, saying how sorry he was that they had started on her. And then the person with the knife, which she now couldn't see, was still trying to argue with her, but the other one was trying to calm the situation. The two girls and the random girl walked away, and once to a place of safety, the pair of them sought help from the police. Due to how panicked the both of the girls were, and as everything had happened so fast, they were unable to provide a real good description. Other than there was about 6 of them and all Muslim males. The police stated that they would report this, but again, due to not being able to provide a description of clothing, said it was doubtful these men could be caught. The young girl said she was so frightened and after a night out was shocked that this had happened to her, and that she was more concerned about getting away, failed to notice what they were wearing. Now, what I suggested, and I'm going to suggest this now. Girls, you've got to start travelling in groups and staying in groups. Never separate away from each other, ever. 2, if need be, carry a pocket full of pepper. It's very simple, not illegal. Somebody comes at you, throw pepper in their eyes. They're going to think twice about doing anything, and the chances are they're going to see what they're doing. 2, in your phone, you have the word ICE. ICE stands for in case of emergency. Store it as number 1 in your phone. That way, you come out of a nightclub, put your hand in your pocket. You have your phone in your pocket. Don't pull your phone out, somebody's going to attack you for your phone. Keep your hand inside your pocket, but keep your finger on that button or near it. That way, if you are approached by anybody who you feel that is going to threaten you, or if they pull a knife out, you hold your button down and you start shouting, "I'm calling the police." Once those police hear that you're in distress, you are then in a position to also describe what those men are wearing and what they look like, giving the police a better chance of actually getting hold of them. So these are just some of the ideas, but this is why it is so important. You must stick in groups of 3, 4 or more. You never leave a girl behind. You make sure that if there is a girl and she's got off with some lad, that you go and you get her and you tell her, no, we went out together, we come back together. You have to look out for each other. These 2 girls looked out for each other, and luckily nobody was injured. But there are going to be lunatics out there right now with knives and guns and God knows what else. We must start protecting ourselves. If you're travelling in a taxi, book your taxi in advance. Make sure you have the cab number and the license plate number photographed on your phone. You can delete the next day. When you get in that taxi, press record and record your journey so that if anything happens, you have it on film. So, after the horrendous attack on the tube stations, let me tell you now, it will not break this country. Terrorists will not break this country. So I would like to see comments underneath this. And I would like the comments to be, what are you proud of? Why are you proud? Don't keep telling me why you're not proud to be English anymore, why you're not proud of being British anymore. Let's start putting positivity into this. The way we defeat this is to not allow them to bring us down to where they want us to be. And I am very proud to be English. I love England. I love my country. I do. I just do. Why don't you love your country back? Maybe if you love your country will love you. We don't have to love the government. The government is just the puppets for the EU. So we need to now push that out. Let's start backing getting out of the EU. Get us out. Let's start doing things as they should be done in this country. So, on that note, as you can see, I am, honestly, you have no idea how tired. I'm so tired that I've not even got tea tonight. I've got coffee, and I don't do coffee, but I am so tired. Honestly, I'm so tired. My eyes hurt, my head hurts, I have a headache, everything hurts, but I will smile every day. And that is a smile of defiance. And that's something else the English are very well known for, our defiance. So let's defy the terrorists. Let's not be bullied into submission. So let's tell everybody why we're proud to be English. For now, take care, and I'll speak to you all again when I'm a little less knackered. Ciao.